They say we all have a guardian angel. Daniel found out the moment his brother was seconds away from dying. What happened that night wasn't luck. It was an invisible force protecting him. Stay until the end, because this story will prove to you that angels are real, and they're always with you. High above the heavens, where eternity dwells and glory shines without end, the Almighty God gave orders to His angels. One by one, they received the sacred mission to watch over people on earth, to protect them on their paths, to deliver them from evil, and to guide them according to divine will. You, the Lord said, will watch over that mother who cries in silence. You will accompany that child who will grow up surrounded by trials. And you will also guard the innocent and the elderly. And you too, he added, his voice firm but filled with love, you will descend to earth together. You will be the unseen shadow of two brothers who will be born in a home of faith. Guard them closely, because even though they will share the same origin, their paths will be very different. This is my decree, for I am the Almighty God, He who gives life and takes it, He who wounds and He who heals. Meanwhile, in a small town, Daniel and Ethan were born, two brothers united by blood and by the faith their parents taught them at home. From childhood, they were taught to pray, to trust in God, and to walk in righteousness. And that very day, from on high, the two angels descended in silence to begin their mission. Daniel and Ethan's parents were people of faith, God-fearing, and every day they tried to plant in their sons lessons that would stay with them for life. In their prayers, they reminded them of a deep truth. "My sons," their mother would say tenderly, "never forget that God, in His great love, sends us guardian angels to protect us. They watch over us quietly, even when we can't see them." Their father, with a steady voice, would add, "But you must also understand this. Through our bad actions and our disobedience, we can push them away. When a person chooses to walk down the wrong paths, protection weakens, almost as if they themselves force their guardian angel to step back." Daniel, curious, would ask, "So, Dad, can an angel leave our side?" His father would look at him seriously and answer, "Not because the angel wants to leave, son, but because our bad choices distance him. When we reject God through the way we live, we're the ones pushing him away." Ethan, on the other hand, would stay quiet, thoughtful, as if those words didn't sink as deeply into his heart. As the years went by, those heavenly beings carried out their mission in silence, watching over them from above and turning away dangers the brothers never even imagined. One afternoon, when Daniel ran after a ball that rolled into the road, right as a car sped by, an invisible force stopped him before he could cross. No one saw it, but his angel had intervened. On another occasion, Ethan climbed a tall tree in the yard. As he climbed quickly, a branch gave way beneath his weight, and he fell from above. The impact could have been fatal, but in that exact moment, a thick branch full of leaves caught him, slowing his fall and softening the blow. It was the angel who placed that branch in the perfect spot to save him. In time, the day came when they had to leave for university in a bigger city, far from the peace of home. Before they left, their parents hugged them with tears in their eyes and reminded them of the most important lesson. "My sons," their father said, his voice breaking, "never forget to fear God and remain firm in righteousness. Out there, the world is different, full of temptations and dark paths. Don't let anything pull you away from what you've learned." Their mother added gently, "Wherever you go, Remember, you won't be alone. Your angels will still be watching over you, but it's up to you to keep them close. Don't push them away with bad decisions." And it was there, far from home, that the real change began. While Daniel tried to remain faithful, Ethan began to give in to the influence of new friends and wrong paths, without realizing that every dark decision was slowly pulling him farther from the protection of his guardian angel. Ethan's change wasn't sudden. It was quiet, almost unnoticeable. At first, it was small choices, keeping company with friends who wanted nothing good, laughing along with them, even though deep down he knew he didn't truly belong on that path. Then, those friends started taking him to places he'd never been before, nightclubs filled with noise and excess, where bright lights disguised the darkness inside people's hearts. Ethan began to try things that once seemed unnecessary. Alcohol that burned his throat but gave him a brief feeling of freedom. And then the most dangerous temptation. Drugs his new friends offered, as if it were all just a game. One night, stumbling through the streets after drinking more than his body could handle, he walked with no direction. Suddenly, a car came flying down the road, and in a matter of seconds, his life could have ended. But something invisible shoved him aside, throwing him to the ground before the car could hit him. Ethan didn't understand what had happened. Breathing hard, his heart racing, he thought he'd just gotten lucky. His guardian angel, despite all the wrong he was doing, had still protected him. Daniel, his brother, would watch him with sadness when he came home in the early hours of the morning, drunk and high. There was no anger in Daniel's heart, only a deep love that made him keep trying, again and again, to speak to him. "Brother, this isn't the way," he'd say with tenderness and hope. "This path won't give you what you're looking for. Have you forgotten what Mom and Dad taught us? They taught us about faith, about discipline, about walking in righteousness even when the world offers shortcuts. They told us we're never alone, that our guardian angel protects us, but they also warned us that bad choices can push him away. Please, brother, wake up." But Ethan, with his ears closed by the illusion of pleasure, wouldn't listen. And so Ethan drifted further and further off course, blinded by a life that promised excitement, but quietly pulled him away from his purpose. Meanwhile, his angel and his brother stayed standing, fighting for him in the unseen. Ethan became more distant. He kept surrounding himself with the wrong crowd. Street arguments became more frequent. His performance at university dropped. The noise of bars and the temptation of the easy life dragged him every night like invisible chains, pulling him away from what he once dreamed of. Daniel, loyal to his brother, never stopped warning him. "Brother, do you remember what Mom and Dad taught us? Have you forgotten your guardian angel? They told us he's always by our side, but also that our bad choices can grieve him and weaken that protection. Don't put out that light, Ethan. Don't trade your destiny for a moment of darkness." But Ethan, his heart hardened, would turn around and walk away in silence. At night, when the clock seemed to stop and Ethan still hadn't returned, Daniel would kneel beside his bed. Hands clasped, tears in his eyes, he would pray in a low voice. "Eternal God, watch over my brother. Protect his life even if he doesn't ask you. Don't let evil swallow him." And as Daniel lifted his prayers, in the unseen, his brother's guardian angel kept guarding him. Even while Ethan walked in darkness, the angel kept protecting him. Because Daniel's prayers were like a shield covering him night after night. Ethan never fully understood why he kept making it back alive, but Daniel knew. It was God's mercy. answered through protection from that guardian his parents had spoken of. Every night became a silent battle. Ethan running toward darkness, and Daniel on his knees, fighting for him with words rising to heaven. Meanwhile, their parents, already aware through Daniel of their son's downfall, also lifted their prayers, crying out to God to protect him in the middle of his wandering. And so Ethan kept walking his path, without realizing his guardian angel was beginning to step back. Are you enjoying this story? Comment the phrase, "My angel is with me." And I also want to remind you of something important. 85.3% of the people watching our videos still aren't subscribed. From my heart, I ask you to subscribe so you can support the channel and help us keep bringing you stories that inspire and transform lives. One night, while Ethan and Daniel slept deeply, Ethan's angel quietly stepped away and headed toward a lonely mountain. His wings hung low, as if weighed down by the pain in his heart. Daniel's angel, noticing his absence, followed with concern, until he found him sitting on the heights, gazing sadly over the valley where his protected one was sinking deeper and deeper into darkness. "Brother Angel, what's wrong?" he asked softly, noticing the sorrow in his eyes. Ethan's angel sighed, the light in his face dim. "It hurts," he said. "It hurts to see Ethan sinking more every day. I used to walk beside him with strength, but now his steps lead him farther from the light. He's getting lost in drugs, in empty parties, in alcohol. And I feel like with every choice, he pushes me farther away." Daniel's angel placed a hand on his shoulder, trying to give him hope. "Don't lose faith, brother. Sometimes people must reach the darkest place in order to wake up. Our duty is to wait, even when it hurts." But Ethan's angel lowered his head, his voice breaking. "And what if he never wakes up? What if I lose him forever?" In that moment, a solemn and majestic voice cut through the mountain's silence. The Eternal One called to Ethan's angel, "Come up to me, faithful servant." The angel, his heart heavy, rose to the throne of glory. There, surrounded by endless radiance, he bowed his head in reverence. The Most High spoke with a voice that shook the heavens. "I see everything. Nothing is hidden from my eyes. I also see your sorrow, and your brother's anguish, and the quiet tears of his parents." The angel, with tears shining like crystal, answered, "O Lord, have mercy on Ethan. Do not forget the pure prayers of his brother, nor the cries of his parents who plead day and night. I don't want to lose him." Then the Eternal One was moved and said, "I will have mercy, not because of his own merits, for he has strayed, but because of his brother's cry, because of his parents' pain, and also because of you, faithful guardian. But listen, I will place before him a great trial, stronger than anything he has lived. Then he will understand that the paths of darkness lead only to death, and he will recognize that outside of me there is no life." The angel trembled and begged, "Lord, don't take him. Let him return whole, so he can rise again with strength." But the voice of the Most High thundered like lightning splitting the mountain. "So it is decreed. I am the owner of life. I make alive and I make die. I wound and I heal. And no one can escape my hand. This time his life will be spared, but not his body." The angel lowered his trembling face, and in silence he understood that the will of the Most High was firm as eternal rock. Then, with a broken but reverent voice, he cried out, "Eternal God, even though my heart trembles and sorrow embraces me when I see Ethan's fate, I accept your decree. You are my creator. I am your messenger, and your will is perfect. even when it hurts. I will obey your command, because I know your ways are higher than mine." And so the angel descended back to the mountain where Daniel's angel was waiting. With a dim face, he told him what God had decreed over Ethan. Daniel's angel, hearing it, also showed concern, but answered firmly, "Brother, don't forget we were created to carry out the orders of the Most High. Even when it hurts, His word is eternal, and His will is perfect." That same night, while Ethan and Daniel slept, Daniel had a dream. In the dream, Daniel saw a car stop in front of the house where he and Ethan were sleeping. A group of friends got out laughing and shouting, calling insistently for his brother to go to a nightclub. Ethan, excited, agreed and climbed into the car, surrounded by jokes and music blasting at full volume. But during the drive, joy turned into tragedy. A brutal crash, shattered glass, screams of pain, and then silence, stained with blood. Daniel woke up in terror, his heart pounding in his chest like a war drum. "Ethan," he said, shaking him by the shoulder. "Wake up, brother, wake up." Ethan, half asleep, opened one eye and muttered Razdrajeno. "What is it, Daniel? Let me sleep. It's midnight." Daniel, his voice trembling, insisted, "No, listen to me. I had a horrible dream. I dreamed your friends came. They convinced you to go to a nightclub, to lose yourself in pleasure. And then there was a fatal accident. I saw your face covered in blood. I saw your life fading, Ethan." Ethan let out a dry laugh, turning to face the wall. "Yeah, right. Since when does a dream tell me how to live? That's just nonsense in your head, Daniel. Don't bother me." Daniel looked at him with tears held back and whispered, "It's not nonsense, Ethan. I feel like it was a warning." Ethan, indifferent, closed his eyes and replied, "Then keep your warnings to yourself. I just want to sleep." Daniel fell silent, feeling deep in his heart that it wasn't just a dream, but a message from heaven. With tears in his eyes, he knelt beside his bed, lifted trembling hands, and began to cry out with passion, "Most High Lord, protect my brother Ethan. Don't let him fall into the trap of death. Cover him under your shadow, remove evil from his path, and give him understanding to hear your voice." And Daniel stayed on his knees until dawn, without resting, begging without ceasing for his brother's life and destiny. But what Daniel didn't know was that this dream was the decree God had told Ethan's angel. The next day, night fell with a strange air, like the earth itself was holding a secret in silence. Just as Daniel had dreamed, a car full of laughter and loud music stopped in front of the house. Ethan's friends called for him insistently. "Come on, man. The night is just getting started. The club is waiting." Daniel got up immediately, his heart clenched tight, and grabbed his brother's arm. "Ethan, please don't do this. Remember what Mom and Dad taught us. The path of evil always seems fun in the beginning, but it ends in destruction. Don't go. I'm begging you." But Ethan, with a forced smile and rebellion shining in his eyes, yanked his arm away. "Daniel, stop worrying so much. It's just another night out. Nothing's going to happen." Meanwhile, in the unseen, the guardian angels of both brothers were watching. Daniel's angel looked on with compassion, strengthening him in prayer. But Ethan's angel lowered his head in sorrow because he knew that night he would not intervene as before. His mission was not to force, but to obey God's order. And so, moving quickly and without looking back, Ethan left with his friends, got into the car, and the darkness of night swallowed him. Hours later, tragedy struck. The vehicle lost control on a curve, and the scream of metal against pavement tore through the night. They plunged into a drop. His friends died instantly. Ethan, however, was left severely injured. His body was broken, but his life was not taken, because his angel, though he could not protect him from the impact, had received the Eternal One's command to preserve his breath, to keep the spark of life burning inside him. 2 hours later, Daniel received the news. His heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. With tears streaming down his face, he took a taxi and rushed to the accident site. There, among sirens, shouting, and flashing lights, he saw his brother, unconscious on a stretcher, tubes in place, blood on his face. Daniel dropped to his knees beside him, shaking, as they loaded him into the ambulance. His angel was there, silent, steady, guarding the order that still had to be fulfilled. In desperation, Daniel called their parents, who were in another city. With a broken voice, he told them what happened. On the other end of the phone came the heart-wrenching sobs of Mom and Dad. The next day, they arrived at the hospital in a hurry. There, the three of them, together, watched over Ethan day and night in prayer, crying out to heaven for a miracle. Daniel never left his side, holding his hand as if touch alone could pour life back into him, until, after several days of agony, the light of dawn streamed through the window. Ethan's eyelids fluttered slowly, and with weak effort. He opened his eyes. Daniel, tears of relief falling, whispered into his ear, "Brother, are you here?" "Thank you, Lord, thank you." Their parents hugged each other, weeping, and the angels, unseen to human eyes, bowed in reverence as they watched the divine purpose fulfilled. Ethan was alive, and he still had a second chance. In that same moment, with a broken voice and barely a thread of air, Ethan managed to speak. His eyes filled with tears as he looked at his brother and his parents. "Forgive me," he whispered weakly. "I was foolish. I didn't listen to your advice. I pushed away my angel's protection and God's care." Daniel, moved, squeezed his hand and replied, "Ethan, your angel never left. God was still guarding you, even when you didn't want to listen." Ethan, trembling, lifted his eyes upward from the hospital bed and said sincerely, "Lord, forgive me. I promise I will never turn away from your path again. I ask you for another opportunity and to make me a new man." His parents cried again, this time with joy, because they could see that not only was Ethan's body beginning to heal, but his heart too. And from that day on, Ethan kept his promise. He walked away forever from bad company. He searched for the right path, and every step he took was accompanied by the faithful presence of his guardian angel, who now watched him with a bright smile, happy to protect him again. Ethan understood that life was a divine gift, and he must not waste it. And so, with renewed faith and a humble heart, he lived each day as a transformed man. If you've made it to the end of this video, don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey.